Hello and welcome to this week's edition of St. John's United webcast. I hope that you've enjoyed the one so far. My name is Aaron Ban, I'm the pastor here, and today's topic is appetite. Just so you know, right before this video, I ate a banana to tide me over between now and dinner. So appetite is definitely an issue that I deal with. I've noticed that sometimes when I feel hungry or thirsty, it's actually not a physical hunger or thirst. My body is okay, but there's something deeper going on. And I want to talk about two Bible stories that involve appetite and something deeper going on. One is the story of David and Bathsheba. David was the king, and Bathsheba was a commoner, a woman who he saw bathing one day and decided that he wanted to seduce. And as the king over a commoner, he had a lot of power. And it's not clear from the story whether she went along with it or she was okay with it or she put up a fight. In those days, the women didn't have as many choices, and he was the king, so there's not much she could do about it. But anyway, he gets her pregnant, and she tells him that. And so he tries to convince her husband, that's right, she was already married, he tried to convince her husband to go home and sleep with her so that he could say that the baby was his. Uriah the Hittite was his name. Well, the thing about Uriah is he was a consummate soldier and he didn't want to leave the other troops during wartime, so he never went home. So then David had a plan B. He had Uriah killed in battle, put close to the front lines. And this seems like David was being wicked, absolutely. And God said to David, I'm not happy with you. Your sexual appetite has been too much. You've gone too far. You've impregnated someone who wasn't your wife, and then you've killed her husband, and now you will face the consequence. The major consequence being that the child that Bathsheba was going to have didn't live very long. The child didn't live a whole week. So that's one example of an appetite running amok with King David. Another example of dealing with appetite would be the disciples. They were with Jesus, and he was teaching many people, and the people were going to be hungry. And how is Jesus going to feed all the people who are gathered to listen to him teach? Well, a little boy had 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and from that, Jesus was able to feed the multitudes. The Gospel of John says it was 5,000 people. Now, there's a lot of mystery about this. How did this work? Some people say other people had brought food and they decided to share when Jesus consecrated those first loaves and those first fish. That's one theory. Another theory is that it's an example of God's abundant grace that provides for us even when we think we don't have enough. So in times where we think that we're hungry or thirsty or facing down scarcity, oftentimes God is telling us that actually if we just slow down and pay attention, we have enough. God says that in no uncertain terms to King David, that he had enough and he shouldn't have done what he did. And God says it to the disciples through Jesus, who feeds the multitude and makes them have enough to eat. And our task in our lives is to try and understand when our appetite is telling us that we actually need something and when it's telling us that it's time to slow down and appreciate what God has already provided for us. So go forth and deal with your appetite. Peace.